So how do you ace your admissions interviews? There are a few things you want to keep in mind when you're preparing for your interview. First of all, you kind of want to know what you're getting into. You want to know how many people will be on the jury, if it's an alumni, if the tone is more formal, informal, how long the interview is going to last. Is it going to be more conversational or a traditional interview style back and forth question? You kind of want to assess all of these elements to make sure that once you arrive on D-Day, you're not taken aback and taken by surprise. You're already comfortable with the setting of the interview and you know how to handle the conversation and the flow of the entire interview quite well. So the second thing is you really want to nail your introduction. We say this to all of our students at Meme Prep. It's probably one of the most important parts of the interview. It's going to really set the standard for your entire presentation, your ability to sell yourself, to create a compelling life journey and life's story of all of your experiences, what you've learned through them, and how they really shape why you're here today in front of the selection committee. And it's going to give a sort of teaser and a taste of who you are in essence, what you're doing here, and why the school should ultimately admit you into their cohort, and why you would be an excellent ambassador for their program down the line. Nailing a good introduction isn't the easiest part. We often help students quite a lot craft an interesting introduction that starts off well, that isn't too long nor too short. What you want to avoid, and which is a typical mistake, is really listing out your experiences one by one. You want to have something that is quite well crafted, that has a narrative arc to it, with a start and a finish and a progression and things that you learned and realizations along the way, really, illustrating your way as a unique and engaging person that is not similar to any type of traditional business school student who wants to do often the same thing as a lot of other students in consulting or in banking. You really want to stand out as much as you can. Once you've nailed your introduction, they're going to ask you a few follow-up questions, typically centered around what you've ended your introduction on. And this is where your due diligence about the school, the program, its missions, its values, the specificities of it, why you want to attend that school, your sort of 3 to 5 year plan of what you want to do later on are going to be really key. Depending on the school you're interviewing for, the phase where they're going to be asking you questions about what you want to do, your professional project, can be actually quite long. So if you haven't really carried out quite deep research about why a specific segment, in which locations, what's your kind of broader strategy, your genuine understanding and curiosity and passion for what you're applying to, it's going to be felt quite quick and you're going to come off as a rather superficial candidate who just has prepared something to say for the interview admission, but that it's not really genuine and authentic. The next thing we suggest you do for interviews is to really anticipate questions. All in all, most questions that you're going to have on your business school interview have been asked before, and they can be quite easily anticipated. That's why we've built lists of previous existing questions that are typically asked, as well as try to really update them quite regularly so that candidates can prepare. What you want to do is kind of skim through the list. There are a lot of questions that instinctively you're going to know already how to answer. A lot you're not, and so you can prepare your answer based off where you feel least comfortable. The more you prepare that question bank, the more you're going to be confident and secure once you're in front of the jury. Lastly, you really want to finish strong. A lot of students don't really know how to end their interview. You really want to have a final positive imprint on your jury, whether it be an alumni or a committee of several members. Typically, what we recommend is asking emotionally engaging questions. So for example, you could ask, what was your fondest memory of your time at X program, if it's an alumni, for example? And by answering your question, they're going to think of positive memories of their experience during their time at business school, and subconsciously they're actually going to associate that positive experience with you as a candidate, because through your question you've provided them with that feeling. So if you're able to finish your interview on a question of that nature that's going to elicit a positive subconscious response in your interviewer, it's really going to play in your favor. And we've done this for a lot of students and it always seems to work. I did it myself. So it's something we actually really recommend. So if you want to see all of our question banks, interview grid criteria, a lot more resources, you can check out our Meme Prep Masterclass, or you can book a call directly with us to learn more.